admittedly so, I want to go ahead and do this particular video only because it just entered into my spirit to do it. You often hear out here in the court of public opinion, especially since social media has actually taken a big spurt, growth spurt. You often hear, whenever my name is brought up on the internet, more times than not, you'll hear someone that will get on here and begin to just blast Pastor Dowell as if I'm some type of evil man. And we usually don't. I usually don't. I usually don't get on here and make videos like I'm getting ready to make right now. And the reason why I don't do it because I feel like I don't owe people an answer. People can pick and choose to believe what they want to believe. I guess I have a high opinion, which I shouldn't. It should actually be lower, of humanity. And the reason being is because I'm of the mind, because I function that way, and I assume that if people have any belief system in them whatsoever at all, any moral system at all, and if they choose not to have a moral, at least a value system in them at all, is that before they would believe what someone says, is that they would actually hear both sides of the story. And if you do not get the opportunity to hear both sides of the story, then the Bible says these people are false witnesses. All right. But I want to give you a couple of situations that usually happens in ministry. And you usually hear people run straight to the internet and they give their side of the story. Be they in pain, perceived or not, it's utterly amazing. But before I do that, let me give you a little bit of history about Straightway Truth Ministries. I myself and everybody in the ministry, we are not perfect people. We are people that is striving for perfection. We get better as the years go by. We get better and better. We're not righteous of ourselves. We are righteous because of Him. And I also want to say this, is that many times when I meet people, and they come to meetings, different places where I have meetings, and they meet me in person, and they are literally appalled that I am totally different in person than I am behind the camera or the pulpit. And I usually say to them, I usually have to say it a lot, I say that's because people confuse the administration. There's a different dynamic. For instance, when I'm preaching and I'm teaching, I have a holy word to represent. I am in the stead, or in the place of a holy man of Yah. And therefore, I can't take into account people's personal opinions because I have a truth that I have to present. And the Bible teaches me to present that truth, whether they hear or forbear. And it even says, cry loud and don't even spare when you do it. In other words, represent my truth the way that I tell you and not the way that the world wants to hear it. And I do that. And at times you see me very passionate behind this camera here making YouTube videos. And sometimes people do not know how to take me as a man because what they first hear and receive conflicts with the way that they have normally dealt with everybody in the world. Well, I have been striving for a little over 2 decades to live as righteous and holy as I can. I have learned over the years, and I continue to keep learning, that in this life there are trials and there are tribulations. And the ideal is to be able to not let trials and tribulations overcome you. You will feel the pressure of them, but you must be an overcomer. And so whenever I have things going on, when I fall short of the glory of Yah or other people fall short, I usually go straight to the instruction book right here. I pretty much know what a lot of it says, but I still like to check the instructions right here to see, because I mean, that's what I live by. I don't have any compunction whatsoever at all if you choose not to live by it. It's your life. You have to pick and choose the way you want to live, the way you believe. On this land that myself and the saints own, I have opened up over the years the doors of our home, because this ministry, it's a small community, but it's our home first and foremost. And I've given people refuge, people who have had literally no place to stay. And they have stayed on this land 10, 12, 13, 14 years. And then one day, all of a sudden, an offense builds. And the next thing you know, because we live in close proximity to each other and we eat in a dining hall 2 meals a day, every day here on the community, with the exception of Sabbath. And all of a sudden, a spirit enters into these people, and they end up, after all, first of all, they were excited, elated, and ecstatic when they came here. We gave them, when they came with nothing, we gave them food, we gave them clothing, we gave them shelter, and a place to call home. How many of you would do that to people out there that actually need a place to stay? How many of you would take in your family members and take care of them without asking anything of them, but to just join in with you doing the chores and the work of the ministry? And it's really, truly not much at all. The brethren have the greater physical as well as the spiritual workload than the sisters ever would. Our sisters stay busy. In the wintertime, they're really, truly not that busy in the wintertime. At times they do, because they process deer, or if when we go out and go hunt, we bring deer in, or turkey during its season, or if we butcher a cow, because they're not doing any gardening. They still have to continue on with homeschool and the guiding of the house and the cleaning of different facilities on the community. And we live a quiet and peaceable life. But one day people get an offense. And after they get offense, mind you, they came here with nothing. They expect to have thousands of dollars in their hand when they leave. And then when they leave, first thing they do is they go run to Facebook and they start spewing out all this hatred and all this stuff about the community. And we're sitting up here looking at it going, are you serious? I didn't know that was us. They paint a picture of us as if it's really, truly true. And you think it's true just because they lived here. That is true. And at any given time, why do you think a lot of times when people come, or people have been around a while, I often will say here, if you don't mind, would you mind giving us a little short testimony of straightway your stay and what's going on? And then you'll see these people. Later on, they'll get an offense. There's like this one woman named Kathy Smith. She got an offense over us, and she's been to the land twice, only for a total of maybe 2 days, 3 days at most, during when we had gatherings. She gets offended at another man in North Carolina and gets upset, and the next thing you know, she starts attacking the ministry here straightway. She lives in North Carolina. She deals with that man in North Carolina. I don't know nothing about her. And, I can go on and on and on. There was a time that we had an influx. It seems like almost every 3 months here for years back, that Department of Human Services would be at the gate. Why? Because somebody done reported that we're abusing our children or something like that. And they always protect the person that does the accusation. You know what happened? They had gotten to the point, the DSS, the Department of Social Service, they have gotten to the point where they have literally got so sick and tired of coming down here investigating this, they figured out that this is nothing but just somebody being bitter and old-fashioned harassment. And speaking of that, we had a young woman who, when she was 13 years old, her parents was military, she was in Germany. And she heard me on a broadcast. And you know what that young woman did? she got conviction in her heart, and she started wearing head coverings, she started wearing dresses, and started reading her Bible and trying to be as meek and humble and holy as she could be. And she did this by herself all the way up until she graduated school. In the meantime, her parents is trying to set her up with dates and go out on dates, and she don't want to do that. All she wants to do is live holy because she's been following the ministry. But mind you, her parents were so threatened by the ministry, and they lived in Alabama, then they moved to New York. They took away her phone. They took away everything, any avenue that she could have. They took it away just because she was listening to the ministry. And you know what? They couldn't lay no sin to her charge. Well, I told them. I got word. I did a video. I said, you parents, what you're going to do is you're going to provoke your children to anger. You're going to cause them to be bitter against you, and you're going to get them to the point to where they don't want to have nothing to do with you. And guess what? We're at that case now. She's there at that point because when she moved, because she's 18, and by law, she can make her own choices and decisions. So she decided to take the money she saved, and she flew down to a community that we had in Georgia. And she was there. I would often ask Elder Rufus how she's doing. She's doing well. I would speak to her on the phone. Oh, I'm doing well, Pastor. Just so happy to be around the saints. Her parents would go to the police department, and they would make up all kind of lies. Like, we done kidnapped her. We're doing a humanity check because they feel like that her person is being threatened and stuff. And they would come and we demand to see Jordan. Of course, you know, the elder down at the time would say, I tell you what, you make all the demands you want, but come with a warrant. Then you will comply with your demands. If you don't have a warrant, get off our property right now. And of course, you know, the police officer said, well, we'll be back. Guess what? I told the elder, don't worry about it. They ain't coming back. And he didn't come back. So anyway, I said to the elder, I said, tell sister such and such to come on up to the community. If y'all don't mind, bring her on up. She brought her up. They brought her up. And when she hit this land, the first person she saw was my wife, Sister Carol. And she was just overwhelmed with so much joy. Kind of like so many people when they come to Straightway, that she just fell down on her knees and just crying. She cried on Sister Carol's shoulder for who knows how long. And of course, you know, she was going to meet me. I was on the land working, and I was walking down the road, and her and Carol was walking down the road, and she saw me and she stopped, because I've had an impact on this young woman's life since she was 13 years old by preaching the word. And she walks up to me, she starts crying and crying and crying, and she grabbed me and held me. Even had Sister Carol crying right next to me, and cried for at least 5 minutes. I mean, she just would not let me go. She just loves me. And mind you, for the little that we have, we've given her a home, a place to stay, food, clothing, shelter. She has nothing, no need of anything. Everything that she ever needs, she has. She does not want to speak to her family because her family is, we call them crazy. I don't know what you call them. We call them crazy. So they do their same standard operating procedures. They go to Lafayette Police Department, Lafayette, they do. And they start making all these allegations and everything else. And they was going to come out here to this land, and Lafayette Police Department told them, let me tell you something. The one thing you don't do, you don't go out there fooling around. People know what they're doing. Don't go to that land uninvited. See, they think they got this right or whatever. And so they had been once, and we told them, nah, she don't want to see him, and we turned them away. They flew down here again later. They come back with more allegations and harassment stuff. And I knew the deputy, and he said, Pastor Dow, he says, you know, what if you don't mind? I said, I already know what you're going to say. He said, but if you don't mind, can I just see the young woman? Because if they come back down here again, I am going to file harassment charges against them. So I said, could y'all please go to the dining hall and get the sister? And when he got the sister, nobody knows what said. Nobody knows what said. Matter of fact, we radio. She comes walking down the lane. And I said, sister, this deputy like to say a few things to you. And he began to ask her a few questions. And one of the questions he asked her was, are you here of your own free will? And she said, yes, sir, I am. And I love it here. He said, that's it. I'm gone. See you later. Took off. So what did they do? They immediately go to Facebook. They start trolling my YouTube page. They start lying all over the place. Her parents does. She don't want nothing to do with them now. Nothing whatsoever at all. Nothing at all. I understand that experience because when I was in the military, oh man, I was just the model family member. When I got out and they found out that I was serious and I wasn't a hypocrite about obeying what the Bible says, keeping the laws, the statutes, and commandments, and I actually live set apart, which many of you know. Whatever you see me preach and teach, I live it. I just flat out live it. I'm not like these hypocritical preachers out here. I live the gospel. And so, you know, we've had all these type of experiences because people get offended, they get disgruntled, or either some family member is trying to use the power of the system to oppress us. Well, in the last few days, we have a brother up in Pennsylvania. And him and his first wife are divorced. And she doesn't like the fact that he's happy. And he keeps the laws, the statutes, and the commandments of the Most High Yah. She don't like that. His daughter has visitation rights. And, you know, I've met his daughter. Matter of fact, when she first saw me, when I first met her, she's 3 years old in New Jersey. She knew I was there. First thing she did, she come busting through the door. She looked to the left, looked to the right. Her eyes glued on me, and she immediately ran and jumped up in my lap. And then held me like this and said, Pastor Dow, I love you. Just a beautiful young girl. Just a beautiful young girl. But anyway, his ex-wife has made the false allegations that his daughter has been sexually harassed and molested and touched. So this brother decided he was going to take his daughter because of this wicked attack that's coming. He's going to take his daughter over to the medical facility and have her tested. And they did a rape test on. You know how much that rips at a father's heart. Only come to find out, nothing. When the DSS got there, they interviewed, nothing. And they got so upset that they were being harassed because they're trying to live holy and obey the Bible, that they just left. They just flat out left and said sorry for the trouble. Because they have to investigate, because I guess it's by law. And the sad part about it is, I would like to know what they're going to do to all these false accusers. See, it's only there to cause pain. This is the stuff we have to deal with. We become experts at it pretty much now. We know how to deal with the system. We know how to deal with the police. We know how to deal. We just have pretty much become experts at this stuff. And it's just a sad occasion. And so we've had people within the last few years leave this community after living here 14 years. We schooled the children, raised them, reared them. One offense enters in. That's it. That's all it takes. Next thing you know, they go out and slander us, defame us, and they keep at it too. At one time, before I met them, they had no makeup and they were wearing skirts. First thing they do is they go out there and they throw off the head covering, put on the makeup and put the pants back on and start taking only facial pictures. You know, I guess showing you their beauty, because, you know, I've got an old saying that when I was a little boy, I used to listen to this rock station, 103 KDF, out of Nashville, Tennessee. And one of their slogans says that that beauty is only skin deep, but ugly is to the bone. And beauty is only skin deep. You don't believe me? Go on YouTube and look and see how many people. These women are ugly as hell. They got scabs all on their faces. And they'll get on here and do these makeup tutorials. And they got you men fooled that these people, even when you go out in this world, you think you're looking at some type of glamour girl, you looking at some makeup prince, princess. I always say prince nowadays too, huh? But princesses. And boy, when you see them with that makeup off, man, you talking about run for cover. Woo-wee. But it's just sad that I've had to endure this with this brother. This ain't my first rodeo. And give him direction on what to do and which way to go. Because the harassment is there. You know, people are just, and we don't trouble anybody. We don't bother nobody. I've been called everything under the sun. I mean everything. Everything. I've been called a molester. I've been called a rapist. I've been called a wife beater. I've been called an abuser, and they keep on and on. I've stole people's wives, and the list goes on and on and on. And you people wonder why come I don't get out here and answer, because why should I? You can pick and choose, believe what you want to believe. And I say it once, I say it 1,000 times. All you have to do is anytime somebody make an accusation, look into their lives. Because there's people that made accusations with me, and some of the saints here who've actually had to go to court because of them. It's amazing how those wicked judges out there in that court system can see right through their lies and right through their fallacies, and yet many of you out there have no discernment at all. You can't see nothing at all. Utterly amazing. Utterly amazing. And you believe every lie. And then there was a time I was in another state, and we had some people come to our home unannounced. And that's the one thing you don't do. This is not Christianity. This is not come as you are and go as you please. And this is that we don't operate like that. We're very meticulous and careful. And even at that, we're still very discerning about who comes. See, we already know who we are. And many people who have been in fellowship with us over the years, they know who we are. And I'm sure maybe one or two is waiting out to 5 or 6 years to see if just one of these allegations that they put out there on the internet is true or not. Or they're going to keep holding their breath, because all they're going to find out is just nothing but slander. But the jury is still out when we meet you. We don't have to be tested, proven, and tried. We've already tested, proven, tried. I'll even let you in to parts of our life here. We don't see much of yours. And it's just one thing after another. When we first moved here, the neighbors up here would call the EPA on us and said that we were running sewage on the ground. And it's like every 6 months they would call saying we were doing something. The people got so sick and tired of coming that they just simply just stopped. Well, we got to check it out. I said, come on, check it out. Come on. Found out we wasn't running no sewage on no ground at all. We wasn't breaking no regulations, even though the land that I own is unrestricted. In other words, I'm grandfathered in. If I wanted to build a 300 by 300 foot bonfire and just burn that thing 365 days a year, ain't a damn thing nobody could say, except when the winter time comes, they put in a burn ban. Other than that, I can do what I want. I can build a house out of toothpicks if I wanted to, because I live in a rural area and we're out. But for some way, somehow, I don't know what it is, for some reason, everybody out there actually thinks that they are really truly concerned about the way that we live. Yet they pay no bills. They provide us no food, no clothing, no shelter. I have given away thousands of dollars over the years to people needing and needing help. And over the years, I've learned wisdom how to deal with humanity too, because humanity would play on your heart. But I think the biggest thing is that people, a lot of people, they'll come and they're ashamed of themselves after they believe the lies. That's what it is. And they come to find out that we're not the way that these people are presented us to be. And I'll say it again. Anyone who makes any allegations about Straightway, you already know who the devil is, the one who's making the allegations. Because the one thing about Satan's character and nature is that he's the accuser of the brethren. And he accuses us day and night. And somebody on this earth has got to fit that bill of being the accuser of the brother. And it goes on. I mean, it continues to keep going on and on and on. And needless to say, I become pretty keen and pretty discerning. I don't give out too many handouts like I used to. I'm very slow moving concerning who I allow to become part of us. Very slow moving. And I just don't lend my hand out too many more times because of people. Humans are something else. Humans are something else. Hold on one second, all right? Hey, Pastor, I'll get right back with you. I'm doing a video. I'll call you back in a second, all right?
Yes, sir.
Bless you. And I don't have, people who I've, over the years, it's just utterly remarkable and amazing. So, I get all these things said against us evil and wickedly, and then many people wonder why come we don't say anything, because we don't need to. We're not answerable or chargeable to any of you, only to him. And Pastor Dow don't have a criminal record. The people that stay on his land, we do not have one felon that lives with us on his land. Nobody on his land has a criminal record. I guess if anything, if we have any indictments against us at all, that's probably because we got a few people that's got a couple of speeding tickets. Oh, man, those wicked people. Man, I tell you, utterly amazing. Utterly amazing. But other than that, we're living a life as holy as best as we can. And when you hear me preach and teach, you're going to see a different dynamic than even what you see on this video right here. I'm going to come out strong and forceful. That does not mean that's the person who I am. People like in Virginia, I've met 50-something people. First time I ever met them in my life, I was so humbled and so honored to meet them. And at the same time, they was overwhelmed and overjoyed to meet me as well. And man, we dropped a lot of tears meeting some of them, because some of them, man, they gripped your heart at the appreciation and the honor that they showed. And I think it gets people more than anything is that how I'm totally different in person when I'm not behind the pulpit and when I'm not behind this YouTube camera. And they often talk about that. I keep telling them, I said it 3 times already in this video, it's just a different dynamic. It's a different administration of ministering and stuff, because I have to put on different game faces. Like whenever you watch football, those people have to change their mentality once they get on that football field. They have to change it 100%. Or someone that's boxing, when they get into that ring, they have to change their mentality 100%. Or even a school teacher. When a school teacher is teaching you, they're not giving you their personality. They're giving you what they believe to be the school curriculum. And I understand how people just can't get it, but hey, it's neither here nor there. So we count it a joy, and we strike it up as a badge of honor anytime we're persecuted for being righteous. But I'm not here to put your heart and your mind at ease. I'm not. I can't do it, won't do it anyway. You can pick and choose to believe what you want to believe. But I wanted to say that because I want you to see the type of attacks that we come under. Then there's this other guy I've never met. There are people I've never laid my eyes on this YouTube channel. And you can go on this YouTube channel. There's probably about 10 or 15 of them that they rage about Pastor Dow. Man, I mean, they call me every name under the sun. They call me cult leader. They call me this and that. And watch this. Does not the Bible says you shouldn't bear false witness against your neighbor? Does not the Bible says that one of the abominations that the Most High hates in Proverbs 6 is a false witness? And these people get out there and they just provide false witness. I've never met them, never saw them, never shook their hand. And even if I did, some of them I met, they got scared to death for deliverance and they kicked the traces and took off and ran. And then these people come out and make YouTube videos only because they want to advance their channel, as if they are and have been the most righteous people and they are my judges. Can you imagine that? What do you say about people who make YouTube videos about me acting like their authority and all they did was heard another false witness? See, I don't reply because I don't want to give these people no more strength, because all they're trying to do is use the ministry as a stepping stone to get put on the map on YouTube and to grow. That's what they do. And people have done that. That Zach and New Tutorial did the same thing. But hey, that's neither here nor say. We're going to continue on, but many of you, unless I made a video like this, you wouldn't even know exactly some of the stuff that goes on. But know this: I have a judge. You have a judge, and we're all going to be judged. And the saints on this land have a judge. I'm concerned about those under my charge. You better be concerned about yourself, because whether we like it or not, we all gonna meet him, and we're all gonna be judged according to the things that we have done in our body. And that's the truth, and that's the truth straightway. Y'all have a wonderful day.